Hello everyone and welcome back to the WCW 2000 save here on the channel. It's episode 3 and it's time for our first pay-per-view. It's Sold Out 2000. I spent a little bit of time pre-booking the card, so hopefully I've got something that everybody's going to like the sound of. And we're going to get into it in just a moment. I thought I would start on this screen pre-pay-per-view just to go over anything that's happened since you were last with us. And to be honest, I mean, not really. Nothing's really happened. We had obviously our show history with Dusted Thunder and Saturday Night, and we have built up what I think is a pretty good pay-per-view. Overall, I'm hoping it does really well in the ratings. But yeah, I am still recording this a little bit ahead of schedule. So I'm recording this on the 3rd of July. Episode 2 comes out on Saturday the 5th. And this will be out a few days after that. I'm thinking every sort of 3 or so days for an episode. Thank everybody who's watched episode 1 so far as well. I would just like to give a quick little shout out because I made a mistake on something in episode 1. I forgot, I was in the middle of saying I had a few people to mention, and then I just mentioned one person and forgot to mention the rest. But the mod was made by one of the guys on the GDS forums, who I'm just getting the name of now. My computer is very slow. So it's the Coolest Jedi made the series and made the mod on the GDS forums. I've put a link to it in the description. Jesus Christ, it's in the description. It'll be ready for you guys to download. It's obviously a free download. Just make sure I have a legal copy of the game. Download the mod, put it all in, and then you too can enjoy this wall of morale issues that we have, which is always fun. So do give it a download, give the guy a shout out. He's done amazing work with this mod. I really think he's made something great here. This and the 1992 mod are probably the two best fan mods for TEW IX, and I recommend both for very different reasons, but definitely give it a go. And yeah, thanks for the support so far in episode 1. As I'm recording this now, it's at like 50 views or something, which I've not uploaded a video in like a year and a half, so I'm pretty happy with that. Thanks very much for watching. And yeah, I'm going to do episode 3. I'm probably going to have episode 4 as well today, because I've got quite a busy weekend. I'm in London to see Slayer, which I'm very excited for, on Sunday, and then I'm in Glasgow for Unleash the Archers on Tuesday, so I don't really have a lot of recording time in front of me. So I'm going to try and get a few episodes ahead, so apologies if anybody asks anything. It will be a few episodes delayed, potentially, but we'll be on track soon enough. Anyway, enough warbling, let's book a pay-per-view. Okay, it is time for Sold Out. We are in front of just shy of 20,000 people at the National Car Rental Centre in Florida. And we did have to make a slight change to my pre-booking because I was an idiot. I had Sabu booked for something and then realised that Sabu hadn't actually started his contract yet. So whoops, that was my mistake. So I've had to sort of pivot on the fly a little here. Not with this match. This match was sort of put together beforehand. So we opened the show with Berlin defeating Chavo Guerrero Jr. in 9:53 with a handful of tights, and he makes defense number 2 of his Cruiserweight Championship. Essentially, Chavo won a match on one of the B shows, I don't remember which one, and I was looking at like sort of who our Cruiserweight division is, who might be able to pop a decent rating for an opener, and Chavo was kind of the guy. It's not the best match to open the show with, but I thought he's not horrific, and the crowd's at least simmering, so we've got some plans for the Cruiserweight division going forward. We then have, this was a complete throwaway. Now, this was where the Sabu match was meant to be, but obviously that changed. So I thought, well, we need some starish power on the show, so the Filthy Animals of Ray, Conan and Billy Kidman defeated the Varsity Club of Rick Steiner, Mike Rotunda and Kevin Sullivan in 7 minutes when Ray pinned Kevin Sullivan. I mean, yeah, that's kind of it. WCW throwaway 3-way on a pay-per-view, but I want to push the Filthy Animals, so I figured a win on pay-per-view at least is nothing better and nothing worse than that. So let's move on. Alright, the show actually begins now. So we have our tag team title tournament final match as the Revolution defeat Harlem Heat in 11:15 when Perry Saturn pinned Booker T with a Death Valley driver. The Revolution have won the World Tag Team titles. Stevie Ray was the weak link, but he got a 44, so it's not really that weak when Saturn got a 53. But yeah, that's the end of the World title Tag title tournament, and I thought it was a pretty good match, 59 overall. It keeps the Revolution happy, and with how the rest of the show goes as well, I think this was the right call. Harlem Heat, I mean, I really don't have any long-term use for Stevie Ray, so there's no point in them winning the tag titles here. Perry and Dean can put on good matches with just about anyone, so we'll take it. Yeah, our new tag team champions, the Revolution, a 59 overall. Post-match, we cut to backstage as Ric Flair is with Mean Gene Okerlund, who performed poorly actually. And Flair says tonight he's going to kick Shane Douglas' ass and send him packing out of WCW, and if any of the so-called Revolution want to get involved, he'll send them packing the same way. 67 overall, hot and rising crowd. And the match gets a 65, which is okay considering both guys were off their game. Well, really off their game. But Ric Flair defeats Shane Douglas in just under 10 minutes with the figure 4 leg lock after a distraction from Chris Benoit. So the creative finish was a success as well, and Ric Flair was penalised due to being in extremely poor form, which is fine. 65 is still good. Benoit coming out, distracting Douglas, because obviously they've been sort of going at each other a little bit these last couple of weeks. And then post-match, gets a 54 as the Revolution come down to help Shane Douglas and set about the ring, threatening to jump Ric Flair. They instead come into the ring and lay waste to Shane Douglas, tossing him to the outside and signalling that they're done being ordered about by him. 54, pretty good. It moves Ric Flair on from this storyline, and it also moves Shane Douglas out of the way because he's leaving anyway to go to WWF, and these three guys are all staying. So this will be our new Revolution trio. We might add another person or two, we'll see how it goes. But yeah, Douglas is out. We'll job Douglas out for a couple of weeks and then move on with our lives. Up next, we have a match that's kind of, again, sort of thrown together because I felt like I needed to have the outsiders on the pay-per-view. They come to the ring and demand some competition to take their frustrations out on somebody from what's happened over the past week, with them obviously both failing to make the finals of the World Title Tournament. And it's answered by Buff Bagwell and Roddy Piper, who are continuing to work together. Part 1, great. Part 2, the drizzling you-know-whats. Buff Bagwell underperformed. 52 overall. But the match gets a 66. And what the hell is Buff Bagwell's problem? Is the next question I've got. So the outsiders, to the shock of nobody, defeat Piper and Bagwell in 10 minutes when Scott Hall pins Buff Bagwell with the Razor's Edge. And showing true unprofessionalism, a clearly unhappy Buff Bagwell completely phoned in his performance. Buff, I hate to tell you this, but you're featuring on television, and I'm more than happy to let him leave. But yeah, I don't know what Buff's problem is, but anyway, 66 overall is good enough for me. Afterwards, we go back to our other NWO 2000 member, Jeff Jarrett, and he's backstage with Mean Gene, and he asks why he was so willing to give Benoit a US title shot tonight. Jarrett says it's because there's no point in running scared of someone like Benoit, so why not remove him from the equation now so he can't mess with the NWO 2000. I feel like it makes sense. It's still a cowardly move, but it's also, he's like, I'm looking forward ahead of you. And it's got a 57 overall. Jarrett enjoying going off script, and then the match gets a 73 overall, which is fantastic. They've got great chemistry as well. And the match was a little long given the audience. It's 16 minutes, but okay. But anyway, Chris Benoit defeats Jeff Jarrett with the crippler crossface, and Benoit wins the WCW United States Heavyweight Championship. This essentially was going to go either way, depending if he stayed or not. Benoit's staying with us. He signed his new contract, so we'll give Benoit the US title. It allows us to move Jarrett more into NWO stuff as well. And we can kind of turn the US title into a bit of a work rate belt. But yeah, 73 overall. Crowd is very hot. We're putting on a decent little show here. And it's time for the main event. So, 56 overall, we've got Sting and DDP both being interviewed by Mean Gene backstage. And this tonight is all about pride, honour, and for one of them to become the man to lead WCW in this new millennium. They shake hands and look forward to battle. 56 overall. And in the main event, we get... Okay, right. This is kind of messed up a bit. So let's go over this. I had fantastic heat and decent wrestling, but I got a 59. Sting defeats Diamond Dallas Page in 13:25 with the Scorpion Death Drop. We also saw Randy Savage distract DDP and distract Sting. Sting does win the World Heavyweight Championship. And the hints at a Randy Savage heel turn, which is mentioned twice, didn't go down well with the crowd, who still remember his recent turn. Fantastic. Anyway, screw it. At least it's got a very good rating for his new gimmick, and the turn went badly, which is no surprise. But yeah, so I'm going to talk you through this one. So the match is going ahead, Savage comes down, and he distracts both men, and he leaves. As you do. And then Sting takes advantage and wins with the Scorpion Death Drop, and to close out the show we get a 61, which might kill the rating a little bit here. Sting is handed the World Heavyweight title by the referee, but before he can fully celebrate, Macho Man is in the crowd with a microphone. He says he didn't care who won, but Sting is now the hunted, and before he knows it, things are about to change big time here in WCW. Continuing to allude to Macho not really knowing what the hell he's talking about, and also me sort of staggering something out longer than it needs to be. It gets a 66 overall, it lost popularity in 3 regions, gained in 14. If the main event was a bit better, we would have probably been looking at about a 70. But the main event was a bit of a dud. I mean, the main event was the tied third worst match of the show, which isn't what you want at all. We're not actually no. Let's address the locker room, because I want to have a chat with Buff Bagwell, and I'm going to be criticising him for a poor performance. To be honest. We're going to give Benoit and Jeff some praise as well. I don't care if Bagwell was irritated by my speech. We made £379,000 or dollars on that show in a popularity recap. At least it didn't go down fully a point anywhere. And are we hell doing the media scrum? I'm not stupid. So there we go. That was sold out. I mean, I had higher hopes for the show, to be honest. We did have 3 title changes on this night. And Shane Douglas, he abuses painkillers. Now, we're not going to fire him. We're just going to fine him, because he's leaving anyway. And Ric Flair was happy about that, so that's fine. 5,000 on drug fees, that's fine. Yeah, I mean, the buy rate is what it is. Like 50,000 buys. It's pretty rotten, but it's WCW in 2000. So we've turned Savage heel. At least the gimmick got a very good rating. That's the biggest positive. Now Savage obviously is pretty wrecked at this point, but I have a plan for him. Now, how long is his contract actually? That's another thing we want to check here. Yeah, so his contract's up in April, and there's the part of me that's maybe considering letting him go. And I've got a little short-term storyline idea that I think would actually work pretty well. I'll think about that. But that's pretty much it. I mean, this was going to be a short episode. The pay-per-views will always be about 10 to 20 minutes in length. I'm hoping the other episodes will always sort of hover around the 20 range, so they're not super long, because again, it's not the most visually exciting game. It means you don't have to listen to me go on and on and on and on. But yeah, our backstage is still horrendous. I've added catering and a chiropractor and a masseuse to try and make things better, but people are still grumpy, to put it mildly. Very grumpy. Very, very... Is anybody even happy? There we go. Mean Gene, mildly positive. April Hunter, mildly positive. Some of the roster are mildly positive, and then everybody hates each other, which is always lovely. And it's the same names over and over again that you're seeing, but we can't do anything until these guys' contracts runs out. So, hooray! We could obviously just can a bunch of people. Like, for example, we could just rip up Brett's contract I mean, he's on 200 grand a month for 2 years. And to release him, I mean, 3 people would be very happy, but it would cost us 1.1 million to do so. You could look at releasing, and it sounds like a Mark Madden. I don't know why Flair's annoyed, but I mean 70 grand nearly to get rid of Mark Madden. Russo's gone in a couple of days. In 2 weeks time, Russo is gone. We could just get rid of him now, but Jeff would get upset. So I think it's wise to play the waiting game, let contracts expire, and then go. Like, Douglas is gone then as well. So we get rid of Douglas and we get rid of Russo. And in a few months' time, I mean, we've got a bunch of guys here. Like, a lot of guys. Like, I mean, let's see. If we look at this quickly, actually, sorry. So, Psychosis will probably keep. Baby can go. Ronda Singh can go. Savage will decide. Barbarian, I mean, I love Barb. I might keep him around. Viano 4, the Maestro can go. El Dandy, I mean, he can probably go. Steve Armstrong, I don't know. Sonny Zaki, probably keep because he'll be cheap. J Biggs can go. Silver King, depends. Wolvie D can probably go. Spice can go. Mr. Jones can go. David Taylor can go. Viano 5, depends if we keep Viano 4. Jerry Flynn can go. La Parka can stay. So, I mean, that's a bunch of guys leaving as well. And then a wee bit later after that, we can get rid of Chameleon, Kevin Sullivan, Prince Ikea, probably get rid of Tank Abbott, Van Hammer, Mona, Horace Hogan, Shakira, Big T. I mean, some of these guys are just going to be around for months. Just earning away. Like, what are we supposed to do with this? Genuine. Rubbish. Complete rubbish. And then, like, all the Nitro girls. What are we supposed to do with Chameleon? I mean, what are we supposed to do here? And she's on 5 grand a month. Like, it's ridiculous. Anyway, enough warbling. That was sold out. Super Brawl is up next. And, yeah, tune in next time for what happens on Nitro. Will Randy Savage make anything clearer? Probably not. But he might, and that's worth tuning in for. Thanks so much for watching, everybody, and I'll see you guys next time. Thank you, and goodbye.